Marcel Proust is one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, but for some reason I don't understand, he's scandalously underread. I talk to English professors, literature professors, and a lot of them say they mean to read Proust or they just haven't gotten around to it. And a lot of people will talk about the scene, where he tastes the Madeleine and it triggers off all these memories of the past, but yet they rarely get beyond the first volume, Swan's Way. But that's a real tragedy because Proust is one of the greatest writers ever. And I've actually read the entire thing in all 7 volumes 3 times in my lifetime, and I'll read it again. And so here's 5 reasons that you should be reading Proust. 5 reasons to read the whole thing. The first is that it's actually very funny and very lighthearted. It's not stuffy. A lot of people, for some reason, think it's stuffy, aristocratic type stuff. It isn't. It's lighthearted. It's entertaining. It's funny all the way through. The next reason is that it's scandalous. It deals with, blatant homosexual themes in the aristocracy at a time that it was totally taboo. So this novel was extremely risque at the time, extremely risque, and yet it pulls it off. It pulls it off with class and sophistication. It's also passionate. It is so passionate. When he writes about Albertine, he goes into literary gears I didn't even know existed. When he talks about first meeting her on the beach, it goes on for pages, 50 pages maybe, when he first meets her as a little girl. And then later in The Captive, when they actually move in together, and he actually sees what she's really like, and she has bisexual leanings and all the things that go on there. It's absolutely passionate and scandalous at the same time. But I don't know of a single person in the history of literature that writes so thoroughly and so beautifully about a single woman than Marcel Proust when he writes about Albertine. It's also modern. That's the 4th reason. At the time, it was compared to Einstein, the idea of time and relativity, and that's actually reflected in the extremely long sentences, some that are like 700 words, and the whole length of the Enterprise. It's like 7 long volumes. It's thousands of pages you have to wade through, and he wanted it to be that way. He wanted it to be about time and about how time affects us and about how our relationships change over time. And so it has this very long, meandering tone to it, yet it's beautiful and it's absolutely mesmerizing. And there's one passage that strikes me in particular. It's basically about the Countess later in life and how nobody recognizes her anymore because she looks exactly the same as she used to. She didn't age at all. She looks very youthful. Everyone else aged, so when they see her, they think, oh, that can't possibly be the Countess. She looks too young, but it is, so that's what I mean about relativity and the effect of time. And the last reason, the 5th reason, is that it's just simply great. The New York Times, a major literary reviewer, ranked it the #1 novel of the 20th century in the year 2000 when they were going over the best novels of the 20th century. And also with Celine's Journey to the End of the Night and Kafka were also listed. But Proust was #1. And also, you'd be surprised to know this, but Kerouac's favorite novelist was Proust. And you could see that in the long sentences Kerouac uses. And he emulated Proust in many ways, and he wanted his entire oeuvre, every single book he wrote, to be considered as a whole, like the different volumes in Proust. So there's this, people wouldn't think that this beat writer, Jack Kerouac, who inspired Bob Dylan, the hippies, everything, the Beatles, had anything to do with someone from the French aristocracy, at the beginning of the 20th century. Yet, there you go. So those are the 5 reasons you should read it. Proust was always a big influence on my writing. My new novel, The Orphean, which is, in my opinion, the best perfume novel to come out since Patrick Susskind's novel Perfume, has a lot of very long and elegant sentences in it that sort of establish this kind of introspective, yet also kind of edgy tone that runs through the entire book. But it was very, very much influenced by Proust in the writing style. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your feelings about Proust? And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again.